so that we practice here or we learn here and practice at home. So I would encourage you to do this practice every day at home. To start with 10 minutes, but you can keep prolonging it to half an hour every day. With this, I invite Vanshika ji for a quick 10-minute discussion on a topic of learning importance, that is Vedic Dharma.
Namaste. Now we'll have a short 10-minute discussion. So we had initially started a month prior. We talked about last month like why should we follow Vedas? Like what is Vedas? So we'll just have a quick recap of that. So to begin with, so we had seen earlier like what do we mean exactly by religion? So religion is nothing but a particular faith, a system of faith and worship followed by a particular group of people. So, what are the major religions in the world? Can any of you answer? Just to name a few. Christianity, yeah? Yeah. It's great, good. So, we'll just have a look at it. We have like many religions like Hinduism, Christianity, Islam, Sikhism, Buddhism, many others. Like, but when we date back, like when we see how old are these religions, when we look at Buddhism, how old is it? It's just around 2,500 years old. You can just see the graph. Like you can see Jainism, same around 2,500. Christianity, we are in 2023, so same that much, those many years old. Sikhism, around 500. Islam, 1,500. But when you look at Hinduism, how old is it? It's just around 1,000 years old. So what was it before 1,000 years old, before 2,500 years old? People were living around like 9,000 years ago. We have the Indus Valley civilization. Then on we think that people started living. So like what existed prior to that? So we can see, we'll just have a look at how Hinduism actually evolved. It was first called Sindhu because people living near the river Sindhu people were called Hindus by the Persians. So from Sindhus, it became Hindu, then Indus, then Indus, and by the Romans today, India is called as India. So what existed before the modern day religion? It was the Vedas. So when we buy any electronical gadget, what do we get along with it? We get an operating manual. Similarly, God for us had designed a similar manual which we call the Vedas. So we look at Vedas, the Sanskrit root of it is Ved. So what does this Ved stand for? It is to know. So in brief, Vedas is nothing but knowledge. So Vedas was earlier even called Shruti because before the manuscripts were there, how was it passed on from one generation to another? It was through hearing. Hearing from the rishis, it went from one generation to another. So it was called a Shruti. So we'll just have a look at the rishis of the four Vedas. That is for Rig Veda, it's Rishi Agni, Yajur Veda, Rishi Vayu, Samaveda, Rishi Aditya, and Atharva Veda, Rishi Angirasa. So now what does Veda actually cover? Is it only spirituality? The answer is no. It covers a wide range of topics. It even includes Vedic mathematics, astronomy, engineering, architecture, military sciences, and many more. So now coming to the topic proper of today, we'll be discussing what exactly is Vedic Dharma. So before we know what Dharma is, we should know its definition. We should know how to differentiate between religion and Dharma. To start with, religion is a particular system of faith followed by a particular group of people. And each group of people tells their own story and they try to prove that their story is the right one. But Dharma is not so. Dharma is nothing but dharayati iti dharma. जो धारण करने योग्य है, उसे धर्म कहते हैं. Dharma is what you do for your own good, what you do to protect yourself, and what you practice in your everyday life. Sounds simple, right? So the scope of Dharma is applicable to every aspect of life. It's far beyond just worshipping, having faith in a particular belief. We can just take an example. Dharma evo hato hanti, dharmo rakshati rakshata. What does this mean? Dharma protects those who protect Dharma. Just take a very simple example. Washing your hands. So your daily Dharma, your duty is to wash your hands. So when you are following your Dharma, that is you are protecting your Dharma by washing your hands before eating, in what way does that Dharma help you? It helps you in such a way that it prevents infection. So when you wash your hands, the infection is washed off. So the food that you take in does not lead to foodborne diseases. So in this way, when you protect Dharma, Dharma protects you. And Dharma, in English, we can grossly tell it's spirituality. But keep in mind, Dharma and religion are not the same. Just a few examples of everyday examples of where we follow Dharma. Simple as like washing your hands, serving your elders, helping others, and even studying. As a student, our Dharma is to study. To everyday study, revise, give an exam, that's our Dharma. From a professional point of view, whatever they have those professional duties, they should be following it appropriately. So one important thing to keep in mind, the word Dharma. It's actually an intrinsically unique word. You cannot exactly translate it into English. It's a non-translatable word. It comes from a Sanskrit root word dhr, that means to support, to sustain. Let's take a few examples. We'll take the example of water. Water also has its Dharma. What is its property? Its property is to provide coolness, that is Shitalta. Take an example of Agni, fire. What's its property? Its property is to radiate heat. Now one question, will you say water and Agni have a Dharma or it belongs to a particular religion? Does it belong to Hinduism, Christianity, Islam or anything else? No, right? It has a Dharma, it has its property of providing either Shitalta or providing heat or something like that. So just to keep in mind, similarly, we humans too, we might not have a religion, it's fine, but we have a Dharma, that is abound in duties that we must all follow. This reminds me of a very beautiful shloka from Manusmriti, chapter 6, shloka 92. That is, Dhriti Shama Damo Asteyam, Shaucham Indriya Nigraha, Dhir Vidya Satram Akrodho, Dashakam Dharma Lakshanam. So, who is a dharmic? One who is spiritual, that is follows Dharma, should exactly have these 10 qualities. That is dhriti, that is patience in all circumstances. Next is shama, forgiveness. Damaha, concentration of the mind. Asteya, non-stealing. Saucham, cleanliness, not just external but internal as well. Indriya Nigraha, that is control of all senses. Dhi, intellect backed by reasoning. Vidya, the true knowledge. Satyam, truthfulness. And the last but not the least, akrodaha, not getting angry. So, if a person says that he is dharmic, he must follow all these 10 qualities. So, Vedic Dharma, we can actually see 3 basic key aspects of Vedic Dharma that we must all follow in our lives. That is Panchamahayajna, Yam and Niyam. And each of these 3 key aspects further can be divided into 5 components each. So when we take an overall view, we have totally 15 duties that we must all follow in our lives. So going one by one, first we'll have a look at Panchamahayajna. So Panchamahayajna, Panch means 5. So there are 5 types of yajnas. That is Brahma Yajna, Deva Yajna, Pitra Yajna, Baliveshwa Dev Yajna and Atiti Yajna. First coming to Brahma Yajna. Brahma Yajna, again 3 parts of it, we can say meditation, yoga and pranayam. So now meditation, just what we did for 10 minutes, that also has 3 phases as was explained. Stuti, Pratna and Upasana. Yoga, that is the asanas and asanas that we do for the union of the body, mind and the soul, and pranayam, that is the control of your breath to concentrate. Next is Deva Yajna, Agnihotra, that we do on all Saturdays, and I would urge you at all homes to start once in a month and slowly start moving on to week by week and start practicing it. And one thing that you would have noticed while doing Agnihotra, we say the phrase, Idanna Mama, after each mantra. What does it mean? It is that this is not mine. When we give that ahuti, when we give that offering, we say it with a sense of detachment, with a sense of selflessness. And when we do Agnihotra, it even purifies the environment. Next is Pitra Yacha, respecting your elders, greeting them, serving them. It is not just your parents, grandparents, or someone else. It is actually anyone who is elder to you, has a greater experience, is more knowledgeable than you. Next is Bali Vaishwadeva Yacha, that is taking care of animals. In taking care of animals, the first and foremost rule is that you should be a vegetarian. You should follow vegetarianism. In that way, you are taking care of animals. The next is Atiti Yajna, that is respecting your guests and serving them. So these were the 5 main yajnas. The next is, I'll not go into detail, I'll just give a very superficial view of it. So we have Yam. In Yam, we have Ahimsa, Satya, Asteya, Brahmacharya, and Aparigraha. That is non-violence, truth, non-stealing, controlling your senses, and reducing your consumption. And similarly, in Niyam we have Soch, that is cleanliness, Santosh, that is satisfaction, Tapa, penance, Swadhyay, that is self-study, and Ishwar Pranidan, that is the communion with the God. So your Yam is your not-to-do list, that you shouldn't be doing it, and the Niyam is what you should be doing it. And we'll discuss about these next 10 important components in the next session, next week, in detail. So I've just given an overall view as to what exactly is Dharma, what is religion, and in Dharma, what is your duty and what you should be doing it in your everyday life. I hope you have understood. Thank you.